Muted.
Welcome everyone. We'll start the call in 2 minutes. Welcome again, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. I can see Chick Miller is on the line. I see Joelle Dawson. Is Michael Taiwo with us? Michael, are you on the call? Okay, I have put everyone on mute. I'll first describe the purpose of the call, and then we'll get started with the coaches. The idea for today's call is meet the coaches. What we are planning to do, and Chick is spearheading this effort, is to see if we can provide some kind of coaching to folks who are proceeding to the division contest or the international speech, and see if the coaching is effective, or we can produce contestants who are more satisfied and they need just somewhat of guidance. So let me start with Chick Miller and talk to him about his philosophy of coaching. Chick, if you can please talk about your background, when you competed in the contest, and how do you like, or how were you coached, and what's your philosophy of coaching? So we'll start with Chick, and Chick, I will go ahead and unmute you now. Go ahead, Chick.
Yay! Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? Okay. Good evening, everybody. My name is Chick Miller. I have been in Toastmasters since March of 2013. No, I'm sorry, 2012 was when I first got into Toastmasters. And when I got into Toastmasters, I got into competing immediately. My mentor at the time, Jeff Harris, recommended that I get in as a way of growth. That very first year, I was extremely fortunate, and I made it all the way to district my first year, and was fortunate enough to come in second, and thought, man, this is going to be a piece of cake. If I made it the first year, man, this is going to be rock'em sock'em. I'm going to be going to district by next, about international by next year. Well, it didn't work out exactly the way I planned it. The next year, I didn't make it to district because I didn't qualify because I went overtime at division. The third year, I got back into it, and I got into the humorous contest. And I got to the humorous contest twice, and both times in 2013 and 2014, I came in second again. Finally, in 2015, I got a little more serious about it. I started following the direction of my mentor, Jeff Harris, and I not only did my speech in my club, I did my speech everywhere I could think of to do it. And I got feedback from everybody. And then when I actually won district, I then went out and got a coach. And that's when I found out that I didn't know what I didn't know. Did I have talent? Yes, I've got some God-given talent. That alone was not going to get me where I wanted to get. That coaching helped me immensely. It changed my speech. Actually, my speech changed 4 or 5 times within the time between district and the event in Las Vegas. And actually, after getting some more coaching at the event, it actually changed the night before and the morning of. It became a much better speech. I did not place. I like to tell people I came in 4th because they only named it for top 3 in your contest. So I like to tell people I came in 4th because nobody really can debate that. But what I learned there was 2 things. I learned that I did belong in that select group of people. And second, that coaching, if I'd have gotten coaching sooner and I'd have gotten more coaching, it would have changed everything for me. I truly believe that if I had coaching earlier and done more of it, I could have placed and maybe even gone on to the finals. I watched my friend Joel win and get coaching sooner, and he did come in, I believe, 3rd in his contest, or maybe 2nd, I'm not sure. The whole point of what we're doing here is to try to get across to our contestants here how valuable coaching can be to improve your speaking abilities. As far as my strategy and my theory of coaching, first let me tell you that my strengths in speaking are storytelling and telling stories humorously. I am been gifted by God to be able to paint vivid pictures of memorable events in my life and to be able to bring the audience into those through using characters and dialogue and logical blocking of the stage, using the stage in a logical way. A lot of that I've learned from getting coaching and from going to events and listening to world-class speakers. I listen to Darren LaCroix, I listen to Ed Tate, I listen to all these people. I do things online with them. Those things have improved me. Now, I'm not competing this year or last year, so it was my thought that what an obvious thing it would be to be able to improve our district, to improve the speeches at our district conference, and therefore improve our chances for our district winner when he got to international to move further. I know that Joel and Michael Taiwo would both agree with me that coaching makes the world of difference. As far as my actual strategy goes, let me tell you what I do and what I don't do. What I will not do is I will not coach you to win a contest. And anyone who tells you they're going to coach you to win a contest is leading you down a wrong path, in my opinion. What I will do is coach you to use your abilities, to use your strength, to improve your ability to share your message with your audience, to give them more value. It's been told to me that the most important person in a speech is the audience. It's not about me. It's about my message and about getting my message across to the audience. So I will work with other people. I will not clone. I will not try to make you a clone of me. I'm not going to try to change your style. I'm not going to rewrite your speech. I will help you to edit it. I would ask anybody who's going to work with me to video their speech in front of an audience and send that to me so we can look it over. I will ask you to make your speech as many times as possible by visiting other clubs or doing it in front of friends, however you can do it, and tape it every time you do it. Not just for me, but for you, so that we can both look at it. And so that we can work off the transcripts of your speech and not off the script of your speech. Anybody here who has spoken for any length of time knows that what you write on your script and what you comes out of your mouth are not exactly the same thing. Usually that's a good thing. So I work with people on their transcripts, not on their scripts, to try to tighten their message, to try to put pauses in where pauses need to be, to improve their contact with the audience. Again, I will work with you to improve your strengths, to work on your strengths in order to achieve transferring your message to the audience, which, let's face it, if you're here to win a contest, you're not here for the right reason. If you're here to give a message of value to your audience, winning the contest could be the lanyard, could be the result of that. So that's my strategy. That's who I am, and I'd be more than happy to help whoever would like to have my help. And I'm going to pass it back to you now.
Thank you very much, Chick. And now let's talk to, yes. Now let's go to Joel Dawson, who is our Club Grow Director, and he was also our district champion last year. So Joel, same questions. Tell us who you are and what's your philosophy of coaching?
Well, first of all, I want to thank Chick for putting this on. This is something that's definitely been needed for a very long time. And kudos. And, anything I can do to help you with on your end, I'm more than happy to do that. My name, a lot of people already know who I am, not that I'm a celebrity or anything, but my name is Joel Dawson. I had the opportunity to compete last year in the district as well as the semifinal round. And, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, but one thing that I do want to talk about is coaching. I don't think there's anybody on this call that wants me to coach them. I know you may think you do, but you don't. And the reason I say that is because anybody that's ever heard me talk about competing, I think it's a very integral part of your growth. That's the bottom line. That's what it's all about. It's all about your growth. If you were able to listen to a lot of the world champions when I did the World Champion Coaching Series, when I talked about, some of the high points, these are people that won the World Championship. When I talk about the high points in their Toastmaster career, it's like, well, yeah, winning that was a high point. But let me tell you about this. They spent the majority of the time talking about something else that happened. It wasn't winning the trophy. It wasn't. Here's the thing. Across the board, all 7 across the board said their low point in their Toastmasters career ever was when they competed for a trophy. I'm a big example of that. When you think you're going to do so great and then you don't, you really competed for the wrong reason. And I get calls all the time when people ask me about their speech here, or they'll ask me, take a look at it, or what do you think? And I always start in the same place. Now we're talking about, the way that I coach somebody, and the first thing I ask them is, what is your message? What is your message? What is that you want to get across your audience? whether they like it or not, whether they believe in you or not, what is your message? Your message has to be clear, and it has to mean something to you. I spoke to someone about maybe 3 weeks ago. No, longer than that, maybe 4 weeks. Sent me the speech. I want you to take a look at the speech. Now I know this person personally, and I asked one question. I read the speech. Now this is someone that competed before. I read the speech, and by me knowing that person, I asked one question. Is this a speech you really want to give? I don't make those kind of decisions because by me knowing this person, I know what was here. And that speech didn't reflect what was here. So I said, go back, think about it. If this is the speech that you want to give, great. If this is the speech you want to give, the one from the heart, we'll start there. Lo and behold, they want to speak from the heart. When you're speaking from the heart and your message really means something to you, a lot of the little mechanics are going to take care of themselves. You don't have to worry about vocal inflection. You don't have to worry about facial expressions. That's going to take care of itself because it means so much to you. And I like to spend a lot of time on that. And I remember talking to another individual. This was maybe about 2 months ago when they're just starting to write their speech. And this is what I told them. I said, well, what is your message? And of course, the message is like a whole paragraph. Of course, you got to shorten that down. But I said, what I want you to do is I want you to think about it for about 2 weeks. Not just think about it overnight and say, well, yep, I'm going to give a speech on this. No, I really want you to spend some time because in a perfect world, you're on the stage in Vancouver in front of 2,000-3,000 people, and it's simulcast in 120 some odd different countries. Do you really want to give the speech about your cat? So when I do coach someone, the first thing that we have to establish is what is the message that we want to get across to the audience, and it has to mean something to them. And I was re-listening to Muhammad Katani's the interview that I did with him, and he said that if you had the opportunity, you're in the finals, you're on stage, and you know that as soon as you walk over this stage, you're going to die. So you got 5 to 7 minutes before you die. What would you say? What would you want the world to know? Or what would you want the world to do? That's how important a message is. Now, when it comes to coaching, we have to be on the same page. And what I mean by the same page, there's a level of knowledge about speech structure that you have to have. Now, whether I coach you or not, I'm going to make this available to everybody. If you go to my website, J. Dawson Speaks, that's jdawsonspeaks.com, you'll see a tab. Took the advice of a lot of other Toastmasters that were speakers. Put the tab on there, all your tools on it. If you go to jdawsonspeaks.com and you hit that tab Toastmasters, it's going to take you to a series of things where I walk someone, and I actually use this in my practice as well, but it teaches you how to write a speech, because a lot of times I get questions that I ask that can be answered simply if they knew more information, which is, I'm glad that Chick really put this on, because a lot of you don't know what you don't know. And when I went to Atlanta and spent that time with Mark Brown, it took maybe the first 30 seconds to realize that was so much I didn't know out of 30 seconds. And I knew I had a long way to go. So I've taken that and looked at the actual speech structure. So it's not a question and answer service to say, well, I want to make this funny. And my first response would be, okay, did you write it to be funny? Well, I wanted it to be funny, or I thought it was funny. Did you use the techniques to make it funny? Are you using, callbacks? Are you using hooks? Are you using alliteration? Are you using these type of things that mechanically makes it funny? So, and that's what I mean by, we have to be on the same page. We have to be talking the same type of language. And like Chick said, I'm not going to write the speech for you. I'm not. But what I do want to do is share that information, that knowledge about speech writing, so we'll be on the same page. So it'll be more of a, more of a dialogue between us versus say, can you help me fix this, or can you help me fix that? That's not the way it goes. You're going to have a path. I'm going to keep you from going out in the tall grass, okay? But this is your road. You're navigating it. How fast, how slow, what direction to turn, and all that kind of stuff, that's up to you. I just stop you from going into the tall grass. Now, the reason I said that you don't want me to coach you is because you have to be accountable, not to me, accountable to yourself and your decision that, okay, this is the message that I want to deliver to the world. If you tell me that you want to deliver this message to the world, if you notice, we're not even talking about competing. We're not even talking about competing at all. We're talking about if you want to get the opportunity to give this message to hundreds of thousands of people around the world, maybe translated into different languages. If you're really telling me that this is what you want to do, I'm going to tell you based the best I can, what is it going to take to get you to that point? If you decide not to do it, then I can't help you. You can't expect to get there if you're not willing to do the work. And because this is free, if you're not going to do the work, I'm out. Plain and simple, I'm out. And anybody that's ever, worked with me before, whether it be in Toastmasters or, in the private sector, they will tell you that. Yes, I have fired clients that I have given them a refund because they did not want to do the work. So before you say, well, yeah, I want Joel to coach me, think. Number one, you have to be coachable. Coachable means that we sit down and we say, okay, this is the direction that we're going. This is our roadmap that we both lay out. Mainly you lay it out. But if you're saying that this is what you're going to do, then I'm taking it as if, we don't live in a perfect world, meaning that we're not going to only do this when it's convenient. It has to be done when it's inconvenient. And one of the best examples that I can give was, I know Greg Kitchen's on the call. The last time, right before the district, I went to Metairie, Karen, I went to a couple of different clubs, and that night on my way back, I didn't stay there, but it rained. Now, it only takes 2 hours. It takes 2 hours to get from Metairie to Lafayette. It took me 5 because it was in a driving rainstorm. I knew it was going to have a driving rainstorm. I knew it, but I was already committed to do the work. I was committed to do it regardless of what the outside circumstances are. Whether I can't control. I can't control if I get fired or not. I can't control if my car breaks down. I can't control the weather. I can't control. But whether I make the effort or not, that I can control, regardless of what happens around me. So if you do want me to coach you, then you have to be accountable to yourself. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Muhammad.
Thank you, Joel. Now we'll go to Michael Taiwo. Michael, if you can please introduce yourself and tell us just a little bit about your coaching philosophy. Please do so that people can get to know you a little bit better. Michael? Michael, are you there?
Oh, yes. Sorry, I was. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Wait 1 second, Michael. Let me mute everyone and then unmute you. Go ahead, please, Michael.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Taiwo. I originally from Nigeria. I competed once in 2014 and I won the district. And then I made it to Kuala Lumpur and I was second in the semifinals. How did I start coaching? How did I start competing? Well, it was because I had a colleague in Shell. So I work for Shell, and I had a colleague that introduced me to Toastmasters and also won the district the year before I won it. And I consider him to be the most gifted speaker in the world. And the very next year, we were looking for contestants, and he said, "Yeah, Michael, it's your time to compete." I was like, "There's no way I'm going to be competing in Toastmasters. I would be out by the area level." And he said, "No, I've seen you, and I would help you." And he really did. And the rest, I guess, they say, is history. What I've found out is, like anything else, there are secrets to success, and there are secrets to getting from point A to point B. And if you're willing to put in the work, you will get there. Whatever your end might be, in many ways, you have to have that desire, you have to have that dream, you have to be coachable and teachable. And I really do believe that you can literally astound yourself. I astounded myself in 2014, and for different reasons I've not been able to go back to competing, and I would be, thrilled to coach somebody to also see how far they can go and see how much they can astound themselves. My philosophy about speech is that, number one, you need to understand the soul of your speech, like the real message. Understand the mechanics of speaking, and then you use the information to connect on an emotional level with the audience. Because I believe the most important aspect of communication is the transfer of emotions. And if you could let the audience feel what you're feeling, your speech will be memorable, your speech will have an impact, and you will do very well in competitions. One of the greatest joys that I've had in Toastmasters is, after giving a speech, people come to me and say, "You spoke to me. You have no idea what I'm going through, but your speech just made me feel better. Your speech just made me feel like life is worth living." And that just, like, you could have given me like $1,000 and I would not have felt as happy and as satisfied as getting those comments from my audience. So it's really important that you feel what you're talking about and you transfer that to the audience. Now, how you can transfer your feelings to the audience that are listening to you, that takes a lot of work. That takes, yeah, there is no two ways about it. It takes a lot of work. But competing in a contest is the best way also to improve your speaking skills, to improve your communication skills in general. Whether or not you win, you would have become a better speaker if you do put in the work, because you just learn so many things naturally. And just like swimming or riding a bicycle, there are skills you will not forget easily, and that might last you throughout your career. I take a very personal, very intensive approach to coaching. As a result of that, I do not have much space for coaching people. I already have someone that is contesting that I'm coaching. I told Chick I can take maybe one more person, and just, just because of the nature of my coaching, I'm very hands-on, and I will request you to make different edits, and I need the edits back in real time, and I need you to give the speech again and then again, and probably listen to this video, read this book. I will take a lot of your time. I don't know if you're ready for that, and you will take a lot of my time as well. So I think I just need to put it out there that I will be I have space for just one more person if you're interested in me coaching you. That's really it. Available for questions. I don't know if my email is visible, and I'll be happy to help in any way I can, even if I don't take you on as my coachee. If you just have questions or if you want to bounce ideas off of me, I'll be more than willing to do that. And with that, I turn it back to Juan.
Thank you very much, Michael. And so the process that will take place next is we are going to send a form to all of the contestants who are going to compete at the division level, and we'll ask the contestants to pick choice number 1 and 2, and then based on the availability of the coaches, you'll be assigned one of the 2 coaches that you have selected. At this point, I would like to open the floor for question and answers. And if you're not speaking, please mute yourself. I'm going to unmute everyone. So go ahead and ask questions now. Do we have a question?
Yes, Gene Reyes. My concern is, how are we doing?
Good. Go ahead, please.
My concern is that there's been an extensive amount of time from the area to the division contests. And my concern is trying to keep myself psyched up that long length of time. What I'm asking is, are there any tips or any suggestions that all these successful contestants have had in the past? How do they psych themselves up?
Chick, would you like to take that?
Yeah, sure I would. For one thing, Gene, what you need to do is, well, the mistake that I see a lot of people make is they win their area contest or their club contest, and then the next time they speak is at the next contest. That's not the right way to do it. Part of the thing about coaching is you stay plugged in. You stay in the process. You're not going to leave your speech just the way it was at the last contest. You're going to constantly working to improve your speech. If you're constantly working to improve it, you're not going to get disconnected from it. You're not going to lose your enthusiasm. You're not going to lose your energy. Going through the coaching process helps you to stay focused and to keep your energy. The last time when I competed, between the district contest and the international contest, I gave my speech probably 40 times in different clubs. Any place I got a chance to do it, I did it. Did it in front of audiences and always asked for feedback. Now, you have to be careful of the feedback you take, because some people want to give you feedback that don't know what they're talking about. But you know the people that are giving you good feedback, and you can pass that by your coach. Again, one of the things that I talk about is when you're doing it in front of a club, every time you do it, video it so that your coach can see it, so that you can see it. And in those videos, again, you're not working from a script, you're working from a transcript. You can see the things that work, and you can see the things that don't work. If you have a thing that, a line that you think is funny, and you pause and nothing happens, you can pick that out. You can say, you know, as much as I like that line, the audience isn't getting it. I need to take that out. I need to make that edit. I find that whenever I get unplugged, whenever I lose my enthusiasm for a speech, it's because I did it and I'm not doing it again. Now, I might practice it at home in front of the mirror. That's not the same thing. You need to be in front of audiences doing it. And every time you do it, find the places that you need to tweak. I think when you do that, you're not going to lose your enthusiasm. You're not going to lose your energy. Some people, I've heard people say, I'm afraid of over-rehearsing. Let me just tell you, there's no such thing as over-rehearsing. You may get to a point where you're rehearsing and you're rehearsing, and you think, well, I'm losing it, but when you're going to get through that, you're going to go past that, and that energy is going to come back. When you start realizing how much better your speech is getting every time you do it, that's going to keep your energy level up, it's going to keep your enthusiasm up, and it's going to keep you focused on what it is you're supposed to do.
Thank you,
So,
Chick. Joel or Michael, would you like to add anything to this answer?
Yeah. So, okay.
Go ahead, Michael.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, I've only competed once, and the year that I competed, it was really easy for me to keep my enthusiasm up because the Toastmasters conference was going to be in Malaysia. Okay, so I've never been to Malaysia before, and I really wanted to go. So each time that I'm practicing, I just have this picture of Kuala Lumpur in my head and me speaking to thousands of people. And because I was told that if you could get there in your mind, you get there in your body. And that just kept me on. And that made the weeks where there was no context in front of me, it makes it very bearable. And so that worked for me. It might not work for you, but I would say just think past the division, think past the district, think the final stage in Vancouver and the whole world listening to you. And that may not work for you, but it worked for me in 2014. Another thing I want to say is I want to reiterate what Chick said, that there is no such thing as over-rehearsing. You really want to get to know your speech on a very emotional level. You want to get it into your DNA even, because like Joel said before, we don't live in a perfect world. Imagine if the night before your speech, you heard the news shook you, or maybe you were sick or something. If you don't have that speech so much into you, you're not going to deliver it very well. So in my own case, the flight was 36 hours to Malaysia, and I had to cross 13 time zones. Well, I did not factor in jet lag into my preparation for it. I just didn't think about it. So when I got to Kuala Lumpur, I was sick. I was out of my breath. I was really loopy. But I was still able to do a decent job, to get to second place just because I already had a speech so inside of me. And even though I was jet lagged, I was tired, I was still trying to find my way around a completely new city, I was still able to deliver my lines. And I know that, I was able to do that because I practiced, oh my gosh, over and over and over again. So.
Okay. Well, Mr. Gene, I know exactly what you're talking about. And when I didn't just decide to say, okay, well, great, I'm going to compete. That's a long journey. It's a real long journey to say, okay, well, you've already been competing and you still have all the way to August to go. That's a long time. And there's a lot of mental toughness that I think people don't talk about. When you set that goal to where you want to spread your message around the world, the day in and the day out grind of driving to this place, driving to that place, and you're right, the division contest may be a couple of weeks away, and then you got the district contest, and that's a long time away, and then you got the semifinals and the finals, and that's in August. So there's a lot of toughness. Yeah, so when you look at it, yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying, because when you come home at night, it's just you, or maybe you and your wife, but, it can be exhausting. And when I tell you exhausting, I could not wait until it was over. I get to DC, and because I want to control my emotional state, I don't really do anything. You know, I don't want to be out in town or something and, you know, just something just take me out of my frame of mind. So I stayed for the most part in my suite. After I spoke, I didn't do anything because I was like, thank God it's over. It is over. I don't have to give that speech ever again. I can sleep at night. I don't have to get on the road. But the thing is, I think this is where a mentor really comes. Two things. Number one, I think this is where a mentor really comes in place to really understand what it's like to partake in that journey, and you know, to go week in, week out, week in, week in, starting say what, February to August. So with that mentor, and what I do as a mentor, understanding that, you know, got to give you that shot in the arm to say, hey, you know, I do understand what it's like. Yeah, we all know what it's like to be on that journey. So you're not alone. And yes, it can be boring. It really can be, and it's challenging. So there's an element of mental toughness when you have to do it by yourself, you know. But, you know, that goes, number two, you have to go back to, and this is why, you know, if I do coach someone, I spend so much time on the message. It has to be important to you. I'm not saying your message is not. I have no idea because I've never heard your speech. But when you know that you're going to get the opportunity to really deliver your message, whether it's in Vancouver or just to the people here in Lafayette, to the district, you know, you're going to have that opportunity to teach us something. And, you know, it should be motivational to you. You have to have some type of external motivation. So what my suggestion would be, if I was coaching, I would say, okay, we got to find something. We got to find something, because, you know, that daily grind of every week, you know, giving that speech every week, even though you're tweaking it, you know, your speech is getting better, but there's still something that's missing. So we got to find something. We got to find some type of way to validate the work that you're actually doing. So in the end, you'll know it was always worthwhile. And I have something. I'm going to show you what it is. For the most people, y'all know my story. I have this, and I've been having it on my desk for the longest. And when I was on that, I would always come back and I would look at this. I don't know if you guys can see it. Can you see it? Can you see that?
No, I'm on the phone.
For the benefit of folks who are on the phone, Joelle is showing a picture frame. There's a lady wearing glasses. She is praying, I think.
Yes, that's LaShonda Rondos, the 2007 world champion. The reason that I'm in Toastmasters, and the one thing that she said was, she since passed away. She won the world championship in 2007, and she passed away in 2012 for systemic lupus. Right before the competition, you know, she had 8 toes amputated. 8.
Oh my goodness.
10. She had 8 toes amputated, but she got on that stage and she couldn't tell. She knew she was dying. She says, when I speak, and this is where, if you've seen that documentary Speak, which was magical to me, she says, when I speak in a loud voice. She said, I may not be able to save my own life, but someday I may be able to save someone else's. And me hearing that was the one phrase right there that turned it around for me. And I heard that at that same, the first conference that I went to in 2013 when I competed. And I've always kept that with me. So it was always something in me. And yes, I know it is a hard road to travel, but it's just something, that internal fire in me, knowing that I know I have a message that's worth spreading. And whatever I have to do to get that message across in a professional way, to be able to change someone's life, I'm going to do it. So,
thank you, Joelle.
I hope that answers your question.
I have a question.
Great information. Great information.
Thank you, Gene.
Thank you, Gene. The next question, let's keep the answers to the table topic duration so that we can take as many questions as possible. The next question, I heard a gentleman. Please identify yourself and ask.
My name is Ryan Ruffner. I had a question about storytelling, because I like to weave storytelling into my speeches as much as possible, but a lot of the times I'll find myself going over the limit. You know, I find a lot of it important. I feel like, you know, if I rush it or trim too much, the story loses a lot of its potency, and I'll try to fix that by performing in front of other people and asking them, what do you think I can take out? But a lot of times it still ends up being too long, and I don't want to be disqualified because my speech is too long, but I still want it to be powerful in terms of storytelling. So what could I do to trim it without losing the power?
Let me take this.
Joel, let's start with you.
Okay. First question I want to ask you is, have you studied storytelling to know what goes in a story and knows what doesn't go in a story?
Yeah.
Okay, it has a lot to do. It has more to do with just taking something out, or putting something in, or taking something out. You have to know the mechanics of the story to keep that story progressing. If you're running over time, at some point in your story, you're getting stalled, which means there's a lot of stuff that you're saying. There's a lot of fluff in it. Each and every sentence of your speech has to be progressive toward whatever your message is. Okay, there's a lot of things that you should have in it. I don't know. I haven't heard it. Do you have dialogue? Is it a monologue? This is way too long for what we're trying to do right here. But the one thing that I will tell you is you really have to focus on storytelling, the mechanics of storytelling versus getting somebody's opinion, say, I should take this in or put this in, all that kind of stuff. Because a lot of people, the one thing that Chick said, a lot of people are going to give you advice, what I call salt and pepper. It's personal preference. You have to focus on the mechanics and the structure of story. And I think if you do that and really, really learn that, then a lot of that problem is going to take care of itself.
Thank you. Michael? Same question. Do you have anything to add here?
So storytelling, like any other mechanics of speaking, is a tool. Okay, and the tool is to help you deliver your message. As such, the way to reduce your storytelling is you can go, again, I'm going to second what Joel said, read a book on storytelling. Actually, read 3 books on storytelling, and you'll be good at it. But if I want to give you a table topics answer, I will say go line by line of the story and ask yourself this question. If I take out this sentence, will the story lose its purpose? If I take out the sentence, would my message still be clear? If your answer is yes, my message will still be clear, then that's a sentence you need to take out. And you'll be surprised how many of such sentences you can take out in a story. I'm going to give you, so I'm not competing this year, but I'm in the process of delivering a keynote speech in a few weeks. And I picked the gold standard of all keynote speeches, which is Steve Jobs' commencement address to Stanford University students in 2005. Almost everybody I've spoken to agrees that that is the best commencement address ever. So I was trying to look at it, and I told myself, okay, Steve Jobs is Steve Jobs.
Michael, wait 1 second, please. If you're not speaking, could you please mute yourself? Okay, Michael, go ahead, please.
Okay, so I told myself, how can Steve Jobs' message still be very clear? I think we say having feedback. Can you unmute everybody and unmute
Yes.
only me?
Hold on 1 second, Michael. Michael, go ahead.
Okay,
please.
I think this is working better now.
Mm-hmm.
So I took Steve Jobs' speech and I gave myself just an exercise that let me cut the speech into 2 and see if his message is still going to be clear. And surprisingly, I was able to do it. So I was able to take his stories and I was like, well, if he had taken out this sentence, I think his message would still be clear. Now, I did that for several reasons. I cannot speak clearly as fast as he could. He speaks about 155 words a minute. My speaking rate is about 97 words a minute. So I was thinking of how can I shrink my story? How can I tell my story that will still make as much impact as he's made, but with less words. So so that was how I was able to go through that exercise. I said that to say this: no matter how good a story is, you can take out a lot out of it to fit in your time requirement, and your message will still be clear. Guess what? Your message probably will be clearer because you've taken out all the fat away from the story. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Chick?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot I can add to what Joel and Michael said, except that sometimes in an effort to be descriptive, we give way too much information. Joel used a great word. He called it fluff. Michael used a great word. He called it fat. No matter what it is you're calling it. You only need to describe so much for a person to get the picture. You don't have to give the color of every piece of clothing. You don't have to give the exact time that things happen. You just have to give enough description to paint a picture in somebody's mind. There are great places you can see this, and when you get into books, if somebody was saying read books, that's I'm 100% with that. They'll tell you all the time. You can sometimes read a bad author, and a bad author will take a page and a half to describe something that a good author can describe in 2 words or 2 sentences. One of my favorite stories is a story about Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln gave a speech, and a gentleman came to him after and said, "Mr. Lincoln, I love the way you speak. Could you please speak at our club? We have an opening, and we need a great speaker. Would you please do that?" And Mr. Lincoln said, "Well, I could probably do that, but it depends. When do you want me to speak?" And the guy says, "Well, why does that matter?" He said, "Well, because if I can speak as long as I want to, I can do it right now. If you want me to speak for an hour, it's going to take me about 2 months to prepare. And if you want me to speak for 20 minutes, you're going to have to give me at least 3 to 4 months. Because what I have to do is write out everything I want to say. And the work comes when I go into editing and taking out the things that don't need to be said to get my point across." Again, I'm going to say to you, that is where a coach comes in handy. That's where a coach can help you with those kinds of things. Again, when you start getting opinions from people, as Joel said, you know, I like the old phrase, opinions are like armpits. We all have them, and most of them don't smell too good. Don't take opinions from everywhere and anywhere. Find someone you can trust, someone who's been there, who's done that, and whose path you want to follow, and bring it to them. Ask them there, and they can help you to do that.
Thank you, Chick. We have 10 minutes left.
I wanted to say one thing real quick. I just put it into the chat box. There's a professional speaker named Michael Davis. I follow him on LinkedIn. He's wrote a book, but he has on his website 52 storytelling tips. He's been endorsed by Darren LaCroix, Ed Tate, a lot of world champions. So that'll be a good place for you to start. I know a lot of people are saying read books, but that's a great resource for storytelling. So you may want to check that out.
Okay. Thank you. Coaches, please limit your answers to maybe a minute or less than a minute. If you have to add something, we have 10 minutes and we have some questions. The next question comes from Greg Kitchen. The question is, can practicing your contest speech at a very small club setting or one with a small speaking area be detrimental? For others, if you can type your questions in the chat window, please do so. And for Chick, for this question, Chick will go to you first.
No. It could be detrimental if that's all you're doing. But the more you get to practice in front of audiences, whether it's an audience of 3 to 5 or whether it's an audience of 100, you're still practicing. It's still better than not doing it at all. It's still better. And as far as the space goes, it was explained to me, and Darren LaCroix does a real good job of how to use the stage, is that it doesn't matter whether the stage is 8 feet across and 8 feet deep, or it's 80 feet across and 80 feet deep. You still break the stage down into 6, or on a very large stage, maybe 9 different sections. You still use that space as if whether you're taking 2 steps or 20 steps, you still go to the same position on that stage to paint your holograms, to put a certain thought connected to a certain area of the stage in the audience's mind. So it can be 6-foot area. I'm still moving. I'm still not going to just stand in one spot. Now, if that's all you can do is stand in one spot, if the space is that small, you can still use your body just by moving, turning to one side or turning to the other to mimic using that same area. I hope that helped.
Thank you. Next question, we'll go to Joelle for that. The question is posted by Kathy Caldwell. The question is, as we give our speech and make a video recording of it, should we make sure to let our audience know not to post it to social media? Joelle, we can hear you. I think, are you muted?
Okay, yeah, I just unmuted myself. Okay, now you're talking about you posting it on Facebook or someone else? Because I'm thinking if I'm using my camera to video it, how would they get it? If you're going to be videoing yourself, use your camera. Don't let anybody else do it with theirs. You use yours. Now, here's the thing that you need to understand. It's against the law for me to just, take your information to record you and post it or do anything without that person's consent. That's against the law. Okay? But I think to answer your question is, or to fix that, you record yourself with your own phone or your own camera. Okay? That way you're the only one that has it. I don't think people in a normal Toastmaster setting look to record other people to post on Facebook. I don't see them.
Thank you, Joelle. Do we have any other questions? Folks who are unable to type, do we have a question here? Okay, I have a question here from Aspen. Oh, well, it's a comment. Just wanted to say thank you to all of you for putting this together.
Four thumbs up.
4 thumbs up. Any other questions at this point?
No, I actually think it's a great idea. I thank them for doing this. I think it's a tremendous help and appreciate their time and their comments.
Thank you very much. We have 6 minutes left. Michael, let's start with you. Final comments?
2 minutes.
2 minutes each.
Again, I want to second what everyone has said, that this is a great idea, and let's keep it going. Let's make it annual.
Thank you, Michael. Joelle?
Yeah, I want to take this time to congratulate everyone so far and wish all of you good luck from now, whether you're going to the area. Some people hadn't had their area competition yet, whether you're going to the area division as well as the district. Unfortunately, I won't be there. I'll be in Dallas, but I want to wish all of you the best of luck. That's it.
Thank you, Joelle, and thank you for always being available to help our district members. Chick, final comments.
Yes. First off, I'd like to thank Michael and Joelle for putting this, for joining me and doing this. And I just want to thank everybody that tuned in to the call. Remember that it's being recorded so other people can still go to it. I hope that you all received what we hope you receive here. The opportunity to improve not only your speech, but the competition level in our district, and to help whoever moves on from our district to the international. A lot of work has been put in by the deck this year to improve our district. I think this is just another step toward that. I'm hoping that this works as well as I think it's going to, and that we continue it in the future so that we can just continue to grow the district. I also want to add to what Joelle said. Good luck to everybody. Work hard, and we look forward to coaching some of you in the future. Have a good night.
Thank you, Joelle, Chick, and Michael. What will happen next is we will send out a form, and the form will have 3 choices. Please indicate your first and second choice, and we'll try our best to accommodate you as per your selection. We thank everyone for joining. This is also 3 coaches. This is their volunteer time. No one is getting paid. but don't always have this expectation. After this, Joel is getting paid on the side now. But afterwards, once you move forward and the coaches like Mark Brown, Darren LaCroix, they will probably charge you. They're not going to be free. So again, thank you, coaches, for agreeing to coach our members. And we will produce the best speakers in our district. And our district will win World Champion of Public Speaking. Thank you, everyone. And we'll see you next time.